sights and sounds of September 11th, unforgettable to anybody who witnessed them, especially that day.
Nearly 3,000 people died in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania. Hundreds of them were first responders. WGN's Courtney Hall spoke with some firefighters from Chicago who rushed to Ground Zero to help.
The attacks of September 11th were like nothing we've seen in this country before. As the Twin Towers fell in New York, members of the Chicago Fire Department recognized the catastrophic event had completely wiped out some units. With air traffic shut down, they knew they had one choice, and that was to drive to New York.
It's just unfolding before your eyes. An apparent terrorist attack.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack.
I think, as we all thought, originally it was an accident of some kind. And then, as I'm watching it, I saw the other plane hit just like everyone else.
As the hours progressed and the second plane hit, then you pretty well know we were under attack.
My gut feeling was just how many people were trapped, killed.
I had just dropped my daughter off at college a couple weeks before. So I called her, and she didn't want me to go. But then she said, well, I know you have to. So that was a little heartbreaking. And I told her, I said, I'll be okay, which in retrospect is really dumb. They were supposed to be okay too.
I've never been to New York prior to that. So that was my first time.
We got there about 11:30 at night. They gave me a map, a grid map of the World Trade Center site, which was before it collapsed, which I had never seen before to start with. And now it was just a pile. And I'm looking at it, it's like, what do you want me to do with this?
Well, there were still fires burning. There was a lot of smoke coming up from the pile.
Now there's just about a 15-story pile of junk laying there.
I just remember paper everywhere, just everywhere. Like it was like the sidewalks were covered with paper and all the trees were covered with ash. You've seen those beautiful snowy days where the trees are covered with snow, but that wasn't a beautiful day.
It smelled like death. There's a unique odor, and that's exactly what it smelled like. It smelled like death and concrete.
First couple of nights we slept on a sidewalk. If you closed your eyes, you're just thinking of somebody that's gasping for help or something like that.
You're thinking, this is 210-story buildings and about 3 or 4 other pretty tall buildings. And we're picking this up in 5-gallon buckets with garden spades.
It's like, where do we even begin?
At one point I remember being inside all this steel and just being very nervous, you know, like, I hope this isn't, going to come down.
You'd start digging stuff, and all of a sudden you could look, and there'd be a hole that went down 150 feet.
Here's the iron workers here on the truck, see them? Yeah, carrying the beams. They were just great. They're tough guys. I didn't want to be disrespectful by taking any pictures, but I also thought in my head, this is kind of a life-changing event here. I just thought it was important to document it.
What was the most difficult part for you personally?
Seeing something overwhelming, wanting to at least help out with one rescue, but not finding anybody, that to me was very difficult.
Once in a while, they'd find a body and we'd all stop and, we'd have to bring the body down and, hand it down in a body bag. But we wouldn't do it. We'd let, say we were to find a body, we'd have the New York guys take their comrade out. This was at the end of our, we were about to leave. It's hard to describe that day. It was just,
you didn't want to leave.
Yeah, you didn't want to leave. You felt guilty leaving because there was so much more work to do, for the next year.
I remember arriving back in Chicago, and the first thing I wanted to do was to hug my kids. I went to the school, and they came into the hallway. I gave them a hug. So I was lucky to do that. There's a lot of men and women that weren't able to do that.
It's changed everybody. It changed me in the line that it's hard. I mean, I'll be looking at our beautiful skyline here, and it's almost always in the back of my head. What if?
No one else came out alive once we got there. That was the heart-wrenching thing of the whole thing, that we went, we tried to help, but we couldn't save anybody. And that's what we do. So it's, it's kind of hard to eat that you can't save somebody. That's what we're trained to do.
That group stayed in New York for 9 days. Individually, they went back for some of the funerals that took place afterwards. Only one has been back to the 9/11 Memorial Museum, but the other two hope to go soon. Back to you.